Hi everybody, Tarot Green here. It is the Pisces New Moon. It's March the 10th. Now we've just gone through daylight savings time, so you might be feeling a little wonky. We've just sprung ahead here 1 hour, so it is now 1 hour later. So the new moon, the dark moon, the most mysterious time of the moon was at 5 a.m. That's daylight savings time. So remember, it might seem like 4 a.m. if you haven't changed it. So here's the astrology aspects, and I have drawn in some extra ones here because it's actually quite simple, the aspects, but you know, I always like to include other things so I can bring you more information. So of course, here's the sun and the moon right there, and they are at 20 degrees of Pisces there. I think we can zoom in a little bit. Can we zoom in a bit maybe, just for the hell of it here? There we go. 20 degrees and change. Okay, Pisces, that's much better actually. And they're conjunct Saturn, mean old Saturn, you know, Father Time, the Grim Reaper. Saturn's going to spend 2.5 years in Pisces, so you better get used to it. So this makes it kind of a sobering, which is a good thing with Pisces. There's also Neptune in Pisces, Neptune at 27 degrees of Pisces, and Neptune rules Pisces in modern astrology. And Neptune is also in a very important aspect to what's called the galactic center. Now, I didn't draw that on here, but the galactic center, 27 degrees of Sag, Neptune has actually been squaring that point for a long time. It's one of the most powerful galactic points in the sky. I do like to use this point a lot. I do what's called galactic astrology, and so if you have planets connected to the galactic center, and I do, I have my Mercury there, so I've always felt this intuitively, even before I knew anything about it, you know, that great big black hole at the center of our galaxy. So this is a huge psychic antenna, a connection to tune in to the galactic center, and it's huge. You know, it bends space and time and sucks in all light. The Mayans believe it's where all souls come into this little Milky Way galaxy of ours and leave. So it's like a wormhole. Now, the major aspects here are, you know, the ruler of Pisces is Neptune in modern astrology, but traditional astrology, it is the planet Jupiter. And here's Jupiter over here at 13 degrees of Taurus. In a nice, the dark blue lines are where the planets are supporting each other in a nice, easy aspect called a sextile, about 60 degrees apart traditionally. So there's Jupiter in Taurus here. Now this chart is set for Washington, D.C., so the ascendant here is only applicable to that time zone. I always like to do Washington because it's kind of, you know, it's Washington, D.C. So Jupiter in Taurus, things are very earthy, very sensual. It helps us to stay grounded. You know, up until earlier yesterday, there was no planets in fire signs for a long time, and Mercury just entered Aries on the 9th at 11:03 p.m. That was Eastern Standard Time. Now we're in Eastern Daylight Time for the next number of months. So Jupiter in Taurus brings benefits. It's like the Wheel of Fortune in the tarot. You know, it's good. It wants to travel. It wants you to hold on to your money. It likes to invest in tangible things and in your body especially. Now, Jupiter is making a nice, what they call a grand Earth trine. You can see that there. To Juno, my favorite goddess. I'm writing a book about here. I'm going to call in a book deal here because I want to get this book published. And I've done workshops on her. So they have Juno Awards in Canada, which is very nice. But she represents the feminine form of Venus. There she is at 12 degrees of Virgo, being very precise and detailed. And she is trining. This is a good positive. They're 120 degrees apart. They're in the same element. Ceres, the Great Mother, at 10 degrees of Capricorn there. So again, there's a strong sense of really mothering ourselves, really doing inner child work, really staying grounded, paying attention to your health. Juno in Virgo really helps you to understand that everything is interconnected, and so you have to use a kind of 8-dimensional approach here. Nutrition, de-stressing, getting in touch with nature, you know, eating very high vibration food. Ceres rules the earth, and so of course you see the farmers are protesting in Europe, and they've just started doing it in Quebec as well because the farmers are trying to retain their rights to grow their own food. Let's see what else we've got here. All right, so basically the energy is there's some Aquarius energy here with Mars and Venus still in Aquarius, although Venus will enter Pisces soon. So there's been a lot of energy, you know. Mercury and Neptune just made that lovely, beautiful, dreamy connection on the 8th. And then Mercury and Uranus are squaring each other, and that's really in effect at this new moon as well. Sorry, Mars square Uranus, I mean. So Mars, the planet of action, defensive, war, in Aquarius is bringing in, real big highs in crypto like we haven't seen before, makes people very erratic. It makes the energy into really strong protests. We've seen that in the news as well. And Mars squaring Uranus there. Uranus is the modern ruler of Aquarius. So, the battle is on for change, major change, and what we're going to do about it, how we're thinking about it, how we're discussing it. Again, Taurus rules, again, all the stock market, anything tangible, but also Aquarius energy, which is AI, and again, cryptocurrencies, all of that. Now, Venus is almost at the last degree of Aquarius, so you're going to feel Venusian breakout freedom. We just had International Women's Day on March the 8th. Women want to be free. They want to think their own thoughts. That's, again, protest, love of protesting, important there. And then the asteroid Hecate here, she's the goddess of magic. She rules the three ways, and so she's opposite Venus there. My intuition said, yeah, put her in. We need her. So there she is in Leo. So tune into what your heart really wants. Now, Pluto is at 1 degree of Aquarius here, connected to the asteroid Psyche, which rules psychology, which Pluto also does as well. Good time to take a very deep dive into your psyche and see your emotional contents from a new perspective. That's what Pluto in Aquarius is bringing in. Again, we see here Mercury at 0 degrees of Aries, as Mercury has just finally entered that new fire sign. 0 degrees of Aries is the beginning of the zodiac, and of course we're moving up to the spring equinox, which is going to happen on the 19th here in Eastern Daylight Time. So Mercury is kind of initiated that we're already heading for spring really quickly. Chiron and the North Node are still together. This has been an ongoing aspect, very powerful, indicating the need for great healing of that wounded warrior PTSD. I think we're all PTSD over what's gone on with COVID in the last number of years. And that's very much a feature. Now, the South Node of the Moon, which is what we're releasing, is at the middle degree of Libra. So releasing old relationships to the max right now, old things that are keeping us out of balance, and moving forward into becoming our own healers. Like Aries is, I'm doing it all myself. I'm my own healer, kind of, very impulsive, spontaneous, can be too defensive, all planets, asteroids, comets, centaurs, all of these different objects have positive and negative aspects as well. Always, we got to remember that. Just like everything else, it's always yin yang, day night, black white, masculine, feminine. Those are archetypal balances in the universe. Eris, the goddess of Disturbia. I haven't thought about her for a while, but I thought, gee, got to put Eris in there. And also Sedna. So I usually trust my intuition as to what include here. Sedna is the Inuit goddess of the oceans, and she's a very powerful archetype. And she entered Gemini in 2023 for the first time in a long time, and now she's retrograded back into the last degree of Taurus and conjunct the most feared star in the sky, which is called Algol here. And so, again, there can be some deep unconscious, again, the fear of the power of the feminine, what's going on in the unconscious. Sedna is not a victim. It is a very sad, kind of tragic story, as a lot of indigenous myths are, because their lives were always so hard. But she's what feeds the people. So there's always a sacrifice that needs to be made, and Pisces is very much the archetype of the sacrifice. So again, with this focus on this new moon, the energy is very dreamy. You might be feeling like you can't focus on anything. You might be feeling lost. It's a time to focus in on your addictions, on where you put your attention, with also in conjunction with Venus and Mars together in Aquarius. Watch your dreams. Pay attention to your dreams. Incubate your dreams. Good to meditate. Good to visualize, good to imagine, good to get into water at this new moon and really do a lot of deep cleansing in the northern hemisphere here. Even though it's been a very mild winter, technically it's not time to start any cleanses. You still have to wait till after next week, the 19th, when spring officially starts. So the whole, all of the planets very heavily mashed in there: Aquarius, Pisces, Aries, Taurus. That's it. They're only occupying really 4 signs. And then the south node of the moon, Libra, releasing imbalances, injustices in the world, within ourselves. So going for trying to be the peacemaker in a new way. Of course, there's lots of that energy going on. The Vesta here, the root word of investments, is here in Gemini. So again, investing in what you're thinking about. I think it's very much a mental health cleanse, I feel here, because Aquarius is of the mind, you know. So where do we need to cleanse our mental health, our spiritual health, our emotional health, our physical health? I think all of these issues are being addressed here. And, you know, our bodies, what do our bodies need? So it's a pretty grounded energy. You can see here the balance of the elements down here. Hang on, I'm just going to focus that a little bit more. Balance of the elements. Pretty balanced, I would say, at this point. Not that much fire, really. I mean, Chiron, the North Node, and Mercury right now in fire kind of balances things out more. So I would very strongly pay attention to your dreams. Meditate. You know, the new moon lasts about 2.5 days, so it is, you know, exact at, again, 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Do some ceremony, plant some new seeds. Think about where you need to go. Again, with Mercury right at the beginning of Aries, and then Venus will enter Pisces on March the 11th. So we're going through a little transition here with two of the planets, and we're going to get ready to go into eclipse season at the end of this month. I know everybody's talking about the big April the 8th Aries eclipse, but the first eclipse starts on March 25th on a full moon at 5 degrees of Libra. So you might want to think ahead to that as well. If you're going to be in Toronto, I'm going to do a live gathering on the 17th, just before the equinox in the afternoon at 2:30. So if you want to get in touch with me, I'm at tarottarot.com. You might want to come and join me for a ceremony. Actually, my son asked me to do this again. The last time I did it was 2 years ago when my little grandson was in his mom's tummy, and now he's 18 months old. So it's going to be my first ceremony with my little grandson and my family, so it's going to be a very lovely occasion. So I'm sending you the best blessings. If you want to get a detailed, very in-depth, galactic, practical, spiritual, mental, emotional breakdown of what's going on in your life, please get in touch with me at tarottarot.com. Sending you many blessings.